I'm Katrina, and this is So and Tare. Today we are making dessert out of flowers and leaves. It is so much better than it sounds, guys. We have flowers, so we're going to have flowers for dessert. And with that, we're going to have some sage and some cream cheese and Medjool dates. We're going to do some fun things with that. So how do you eat these flowers, right? You can eat squash flowers and pumpkin flowers and zucchini flowers and all of that. First thing, you can pull these off. You can eat the female flowers too. These are the male flowers. The female flowers have a little piece of what looks like the fruit on it. And what I do is I collect these flowers after the morning when they're closed, because these only last one day and they close up, and they don't have to be closed at the time, but when they're closed they're for sure done. And this is not going to pollinate anything else because it only lasts one day. So same thing with the female flowers. If you know you don't have any male flowers and it wasn't pollinated, well, actually I think I've seen them stay open for longer than that. But what I'm doing now, I'm just pulling it apart because we're going to stuff them. And I have had many a bee try and stay the night in one of these flowers, and I don't want to cook a bee, so I'm just checking. That one's open. So can you eat the ones that are not closed yet? Yes, you can. I'm going to tell you, they're actually tastier once the pollen is actually in full swing, and yeah, and it's going, has things going for it. So that one's safe. Now if this has sat there for a couple days, it might get moldy, so be careful and pay attention to that. But sometimes if it's just sat there for one day, it's fine. Now, are they easier to stuff if they're not all the way closed yet? Yes, they are. One time I had 2 bees in one of these. Next up, we're probably only going to use 1 date. We might use 2. And we're only going to use probably 2 leaves, maybe 3. Okay, so what I've found with this is if you're going to make something, you either need to make it into a paste and blend it in with the cream cheese, which actually is the best way to do it, but I'm not going to do that way today, or put the cream cheese in first. The other note is to use a butter knife, because then you won't puncture that. So you want to get about that much on the end. Now this little one might be a little hard to get in there. And sometimes they break open, and that's fine. Cheddar is also good in these. Same ingredients, except for instead of cream cheese, put cheddar. Yeah, that's going to be hard to get in there. There we go. Now I like to do one step at a time all the way across the board, but other people might like to do one of these at a time, like put down the knife and do the next thing, but I'm showing you guys how I do it. See, that went in there a lot smoother. Like, this is a smaller one, but it's fresher, so it's open at the bottom, which is helpful. Best way to get this out is to put it all the way in and then just hold it and pull the knife out. Little trick I learned. Alright, so cream cheese is done. Now something important to think about, I just use that knife for hot peppers. If you want it to taste like hot pepper, go ahead and use that knife. If you don't, use one of these. Now dates have a long seed down the center, so I'm just going to cut it to that seed. And pop it out. So you do not need that. You can plant it and get yourself a tree. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can do big pieces. I was going to do smaller pieces, but it's okay. And then this you can use later or eat it or whatever you want to do. So this small one's going to go in here. But first I'm going to do these leaves. Now with sage, you can cook these in butter, and then that would be really good to just put in. But other than that, if you don't do that, it's good to cut them. And this is when it's better to mix it up in the cream cheese, but I just didn't do that this time. Because this will cook in there a lot better. So I'm just going to shove this in here on one side, all the way down, and then same thing with these. Kind of put them in there. And then this is a little broken, so it might, you know, burst out, but what you want to do is you want to roll it up as tight as you can. Not as tight as you can, but as tight as it's not going to fall out, and then fold the top over. And there's your flour. So we'll do the rest of these. The rest of these are a little larger, have a little more room for packing things. And you can put other things in here. It doesn't have to be sage. It can be, you know, other spices that you like. You can put anything you want. That's what's nice about cooking, is that you can switch it up. You know, you see a recipe and you're like, oh, I don't like that one ingredient, therefore I'm not going to make the recipe. No. Make the recipe. Change it up. Make it yours. Plus, when you grow your own things, sometimes you don't have what the recipe calls for. So you make something that's a substitute. So the dates do a really good job in here because they basically melt. And it's so good. And if you want something sweet that's, you know, somewhat healthy, a date is a good idea. You can prepare these and put them in the refrigerator and then cook them right before you serve them. That works well. They do not necessarily keep well once they've been cooked. You can also make these savory. They don't have to be sweet. Alright, so there we go. We're going to let those set while we eat dinner. Alright guys, I'm doing dessert. Now, this has a lot of butter. Now that's just the way it is. You don't have this every day. And you can save the leftover butter for later. How much butter is going to depend on the size of your pan and how many flours you have put in. Alright, since we picked some extra sage leaves, we're just going to cook them in here. If you've not had sage leaves and butter, it is super tasty. Again, not something you want to have every single day. I mean, you might want to, but you shouldn't. Alright, my butter is hot. Time to put these little guys in. And I'm going to use one of these. I am going to try and put it in between the leaves. So I might have to move over a little bit. So when you're cooking with butter, you want to make sure you don't burn it. You might have to turn it down a little bit. Because if you burn butter, it's not good. Just going to cook that for a little bit on one side, then we'll use these and turn them over. And they will be tasty. Now I have tried these in oil and like coconut oil and stuff like that, and they are just better in butter. So just go with butter. Alright, let's flip them.
They smell good.
Yep. Oh, that one opened a little bit.
You put two?
There's cream cheese, dates, and
Dates?
yeah, Medjool dates, and sage. And then I also just put the sage, the leftover sage in the butter.
No.
That one opened up too. These sage leaves are going to be crispy goodness. Now these you can save for some amount of time and use them, crumble them over stuff. They're best fresh. And you never think you can eat that many sage leaves, but you can. Just remember there's a lot of butter in it. Alright, we're calling this good. Turn off the heat. And take them off. Now remember, these are going to be hot, so you might want to wait a tad. And man, this butter, you want to save that butter. Use it for something. Even if it's eggs the next morning. Leave it in there. Because that's some nice, flavorful butter now with all that sage. There we go. Alright, so this is what dessert looks like. Leaves and flowers for dessert, guys. Yeah, is a thing. Okay. First up, these sage leaves. Listen. They're so crunchy. And they're so good. So good. Don't do that every day. And these guys. Okay, so we had cream cheese in there. We have Medjool dates. Medjool dates and the cream cheese are going to melt. And then the seasoning is going to be these leaves are also inside. So, let's try one. It smells so good. I'm trying to bite it in half to show you guys, but it's not really working. So good. I love these guys. So good. Eat your flowers, okay? It already did the pollinating job. You're done with it. It's just going to end up dying. You might as well have a tasty treat. Thank you for watching. And now you know what to do with all those spent blossoms. Please like this and share it with somebody. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching.